Okay, so for string crossings, as far as I understand it, this is how, or at least this is how I practice it. I start by putting my bow onto my A string. I think the A string is a good place to start. One of the two middle strings, so that you have a way so you can go over to the left as well as to the right. So I'm going to start by putting my bow down, keeping my hand completely and utterly relaxed, and then figuring out where my arm is. You see my arm here? This is about the position that I like it to be. It feels comfortable, and I could stay like this for hours on end. Hopefully won't have to, but okay, so I'm very well positioned on the A string, only hitting the A string when I pull my bow. Okay, so there should be, moving from the A string to the D string, there should be the same amount of movement as there is from going, when you do A string to E string. So I'm going down to the E string, over to the D string. So I'm going to check it and see if I'm making the right movement. Okay, so. Okay, now I'm trying to minimize the amount of motion, and the way you do that is by using your big muscles, the arm muscles. And so I'm even pulling with just my arm. So I'm not trying to manipulate the bow with my wrist. I'm just doing my arm. And I'm leading with my elbow. So as long as my elbow is moving, then my whole bow moves. And so when you're moving to the D string, what I'm doing is I'm not moving my wrist only, because if you do that, you're going to miss it sometimes. Okay, and also you lose some stability. When you use your arm, then everything else follows through. So it's your elbow is determining where your bow ends up on the strings. So I'm just using my arm here. Same thing with the E string. All I'm doing is dropping my arm just a little bit, and always keeping my hand very, very, very relaxed. So it should just feel like moving your arm up and down. Like if you didn't have your bow, it would just be like this. That's all it is. Very easy. And you see how my hand kind of bobs up and down, and it's following the motion of my arm. So all I'm doing is I'm focusing on my elbow, and then my hand should follow through. So. Okay, so all driven by the arm. So same thing applies when you go into the D string or going to the G string from the D string. So I'm leading with my elbow with my arm, and that's how I get to the G string from the D string. So and then also to the A string. So every time you get to the destination string, you should feel very comfortable where you are. So let's say this looks very uncomfortable, and so I obviously don't have my arm high enough, and so when I go there, when I'm practicing, and I need to practice getting there so that my arm is comfortable. Otherwise, you will also lose your ability to dig into the string. So if I go from the A string to the D string and have it in the right place, then I can get a good sound out of it. Same thing with the G string. So I got to bring it up pretty high. If I don't bring it up high enough, then what you do is you end up tensing right about here in your pecs as well as on your wrist. And that's going to kill you after a couple of hours. So, okay, so then you can do stuff like, without any problem, because all I'm doing is I'm just figuring out where does my arm feel comfortable on each of those notes. And that should feel second nature to you. So give that a try and let me know if anything happens.